Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this morning's market review. My name is Joshua, aka Josh FX. It's a wonderful time of the week again, Friday, and I'm so happy to be here. All right, yeah. So yes, let me start by acknowledging each and every one of us before we move on. And I hope the week has been a fruitful week for each and every one of us. So yeah, good morning to Abiodun Adebi. Good morning, Abosede Adesoba. Good morning, Adewumi Mbewodun. Good morning, Apo Favor. Good morning, Anayo Chuku. Good morning, Arubi Emmanuel Ogbaji. Good morning to Chinedu Osaji. Good morning to Chukwuemeka Anoze. Good morning to Clement Olalere. Good morning to Edwin Badi. Good morning to Ekpemski. Good morning to Femi Akanu. Good morning to Frederick Omoko. Good morning to George Majek. Good morning to Gideon Tabobo. Good morning to Ike Adinde. Good morning to Issa Sadiq. Good morning to Kenny Ade. Good morning to Madu Timothy. Good morning to Margaret Adebi. Good morning to Maxwell Marcus. Good morning to Micah Paul Jr. All right. Good morning to Oyeshino Oyekami. Good morning to Prince Will Chigozie. Good morning to Ruth Moses. Good morning to Sam Echibe. Okay. Good morning to Soyemi Adeleke. Good morning to Thomas Lafidon. All right. Good morning to everyone. And to those just joining us, good morning to you too. So if you didn't hear your name, I'm also greeting you. Kindly note that you are highly acknowledged. Okay. All right. Yeah. Good morning to you, Femi Akano. Yes. Okay. So just a quick one to fulfill our righteousness, just like we do, as always. Please from I will kindly need you to come to the chat section and drop it for me there loud and clear to know everybody is able to get me from their own end clearly, so we know that the network is not glitching from my own end. So you can hear me clearly, loud and clear. Please just come to the chat section and drop it for me there loud and clear. All right, thumbs up to you. Okay, yeah, Prince Will Chigozie, thank you very much, loud and clear. Femi Akanu, loud and clear. Yes, Maxwell Marcos, loud and clear. Interesting. I love that. I love that. All right. So it means everybody is able to hear me from their location. Now, if you're not hearing me loud and clear from your location, it means the network distortion is from your own end, not from my own end. So please, I'll kindly advise you switch off your device. Yes, switch off your device. Then on it again. Then you change your location, maybe with that to be able to hear me loud and clear. With that to be able to hear me loud and clear. All right, so yes, a quick one. So let me do the whole thing, then we'll move straight into the real deal. A minute, please. All right, yeah, thank you. All right, so yes, I can still see loud and clear, loud and clear. Yes, yes, I know you can hear me, so thank you very much for the response. And yeah, I really appreciate that. Okay, so let's move into the real deal now. Let's move into the real deal now. Which is okay. So first thing first, I'm going to start with our fundamentals. We look at the fundamental aspect of the market and know what is happening and what how is it been affecting the market. Okay. All right. So first thing first, let's do that. Let's do that. Then we'll go straight into our currency strength meter to know what is happening and the likes. Okay. Let's see. All right. So I want to believe everybody is able to see my screen from their own end now. Right? Yes. Okay. All right, so starting with what we're seeing on fundamentals as of this morning. Okay, so before we move on, let's look at what happened yesterday. Let's see what happened yesterday. Let's see what happened yesterday. Okay, so looking at the news as of yesterday, please kindly know that the US government is still on a shutdown. Yeah, up to now, even though, yes, they were able to give us some data for this month. Looking at it from day before yesterday, we got or yeah, some days ago, since we first received the news on CPI, yes, then after which by on the 29th, which was on Wednesday, we got the FOMC news, you understand, that came out showing us that interest rate was reduced by 25 basic point, which also gave the currency strength, you understand. And if you look at the market on instrument like Euro USD, GBP USD, you discover that yeah, it sold, while instrument like USD CAD, USD JPY pushed to the upside. Okay, so as of yesterday, we had news coming out on JPY, where the Bank of Japan outlook report came out, their policy rate and monetary policy statement. Their interest rate still remained the same. You understand? That's 0.50. Then we had the all-day news that came out on Euro, German prelim CPI came out positive for the Euros and gave it a strength. By 9, we had the Spanish and flash CPI year to year, also came out positive for it. Then by 10 a.m., we had the German prelim GDP quarter to quarter, but this one came out neutral. Then we had news on Euros on their maize refinancing rate, the monetary policy statement came out the same. Their interest rate is still the same. Then by 2:45, we had the ECB press conference. So that was all we had for yesterday. And one way or the other, it moved the market in its own special way. You understand? Okay. And then yesterday, too, also got information based on what we're seeing. I know most of us must have seen it on either CNN, BBC, even Bloomberg, or the likes. Trump, the president of US, was saying that yeah, they've come to a good agreement with the president of China, Xi, and based on that, reduce the tariff to 10%. That was as of yesterday, reduced it with an immediate effect. And yes, that was what happened. And yes, we should expect a reaction in all those market based on their relationship now, the agreements they're going to be having. Okay. So, but for this morning, today, we had news coming out on JPY, that's us at 12:30 a.m. this morning on the Tokyo Core CPI year to year, and came out positive for JPY. So I want to believe based on that, we should see some strength on that instrument. Yes, then by 2:30 a.m. we had news coming out on CNY, that's the Chinese yuan. Came out, the manufacturing PMI came out negative, while the non-manufacturing PMI came neutral, you understand? Came out neutral. Then by 11 a.m. this morning, we'll be expecting the core CPI flash estimate year to year, while the Euro core CPI flash to flash estimate year to year will also come out by that time. Then by 1:30 p.m., we are expecting news on Canadian dollars. That's for the GDP. So that's all we're having for today, which is also the end of this month. By tomorrow, we're in a new month, so I'm going to be saying Happy New Month in advance to us already. Then next month we'll begin to have different news coming out based on that. But let's just stick with today. But yes, important news will also be coming out from next month, which would also push the market, tilt the market to go either direction, either it goes up or it comes down. Yes. So today, that's all we'll be having on this news. Okay, so let's look at the currency strength meter based on what we're saying. Okay, let's see from the manual aspect. Yes, refresh. Let's see. So the strongest of all instruments as of this morning is USD. We can see it in full strength, followed by euros, then the GBP also. Then we have Canadian dollar, CHF, and JPY on the same wavelength, on the same strength. But yes, CHF and JPY has the red arrow indicating on it, showing that the two of them are losing strength. So CAD is still stronger than them based on that, since CAD is not showing us any bearish arrow on it, followed by AUD. AUD is next online, then NZD is the weakest based on what we're saying on the currency strength meter. You understand? But let's look at the other one that refreshes itself automatically. Why I love this will show you the strength of all currencies based on time frames. Now we are currently on the 1 hour time frame, and based on what we're seeing on the 1 hour time frame, USD is the strongest, followed by AUD. Then we have the Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Great British Pound, CHF, which is the Switzerland franc, and the JPY is still the weakest, you understand? But if you look at it from the 4 hours time frame, yes, is this showing us NZD is the weakest here, followed by JPY, AUD, CAD, and the likes, but USD is still strong. Let's look at it on one daily time frame. The USD is still the strongest. The weekly time frame, all right, USD is not there, it's AUD now. then we see it on the monthly time frame. Can you see USD? In fact, for me, I just feel if you want to have, if you like to have this particular currency strength meter, this particular one, so I'll be sending it to everyone on the chat, currencystrengthzone.com. You understand? Once you open this particular site, it's going to show you this, then just view the advert. Once you view the advert for a while, then yes, you see the whole this thing. You see the whole once the advert is done, you'll be able to see this. It refreshes automatically on its own. So I've sent the link to every one of us here for us to see, be able to see it from your own end. Okay? Yes. All right. Thank you for that. Okay, so that's that on the currency strength meter. All right, so let's go back and look at what is happening on the chart. Let's see what is happening on the chart. I'm with us, please. Be sharing my screen now with us, please. All right, so we are on this chart, okay? We're on this chart. All right, so we'll start with currencies, then from there we'll move to commodities and then indices. Let's see what it's going to be. Let's start. I'm with us now. Okay, so Euro USD, like we all know, coming. Yes, I'm with us. Yes, Euro USD. So we're starting with Euro USD now. Let's look at Euro USD from the higher time frame. Let's look at it on this higher time frame. Okay. So based on what we are seeing, we discovered that price of Euro USD got to this particular high. Yeah, and this point here is a strong resistance on the monthly time frame, and that's why you saw that when it got there, price got rejected, and after that picked on this. So price respected this zone. You understand? That was what happened. So price got rejected from that zone, and we can see a reaction of that on this particular monthly time frame. You can see based on what we are seeing now, it means that throughout this month, price dropped. Okay, so let's look at what is going to happen on the shorter time frame based on what we've seen now. Now we can see that based on what we are seeing now on this 1 hour time frame, I'm zooming out so we'll be able to see it clearly. We can see that there's also a strong zone around this point where price is. Price is close to this zone here. There's a strong zone here. Now, price got there a little pushed back, and I feel price wants to do a retest. Now, it's in two ways. It's one of these two. It's either price breaks below this point successfully and it reverses back up. So, if price is able to break below this point successfully, we could see a reversal of price back to the downside. We could see price moving down down. That's if price is able to break below that part. If price is able to break below this part, okay. Price is able to break below this part successfully, then we could have a bearish movement. So let's just watch out for this particular section. Either price respects this zone or reverses and reverses back, or is able to break below this zone and continues in that line. So yeah, we should be watching out for this part successfully. So if price is able to break below this part, then we should expect price to push down. But if it's unable to break below it, then we could have price pushing back to the upside. That's that on Euro USD. Let's look at another currency pair. Let's look at GBP USD. Let's go to GBP USD. Let's see what is happening on GBP USD. After which we go to USD CAD, USD CHF. Then we look at USD JPY. Okay, we'll look at some other currency pair too. Let's go on, but let's start with this first. So GBP USD. All right, so on GBP USD now, based on what we're seeing, let's look at it from the monthly time frame. We can also see that, yes, it also got to a resistance and it pushed down. This is on monthly time frame here, based on what we're saying. Got to this zone here, expected that point, came down, did it, a pullback close to that point, but it got rejected and is showing that rare price respected that zone and is coming down based on what we saw on monthly time frame. You understand? But yes, let's look at it. Even on the daily time frame, respected that point, came back down, and it's been pushing down. Let's look at it on 1 hour. Now, on the 1 hour time frame, based on what we're seeing, it's showing that price actually got to a zone here. And that's what price is doing. Price is respecting that point. So it's either price breaks below this zone successfully now. In fact, based on the last time, this was where it got to, and price already close going below that point. So let's see what is going to happen. Or you can see price actually is struggling around that same point based on what we saw from the last time. You understand? So if price is able to break below this part successfully, we should have a bearish move. You understand? If able to break below it successfully, I feel that's what it's going to do, but I'm not saying it's going to do that because nobody is really sure of what price could do. It could be a fake breakout now and reverses back up because based on what we are seeing, price has been dropping. You understand? So let's just watch it from this part. Price could break below this section. So if price is able to break below this part, we could expect a bearish move. Yes. Okay. Okay. Yes. So this part is our sensitive zone based on what we're saying now, based on the move. Price is being rejected here. So if price is able to break below this part successfully, we could have a bearish move. Okay. That's that GBP USD. Let's look at USD card and see. USD card. Okay. Nice. This is USD card. Now, USD card, based on what we're seeing on monthly time frame, got to this high, respected, came back down to do it. Here, came back to this support zone and gained strength to push back up. You understand? And that's what we are saying. Got rejected around this point and pushed back to this upside. But around here, there's a zone here now. Looking at it based on what we are seeing, we can see even on daily time frame, got to this high, did a pullback, and price is trying to push back up. Okay. But let's look at based on what we are seeing on 1 hour. Let's zoom out so we can know there's a zone around this point. So we could wait for price to either break above these particular sections successfully. If you want to go for that bullish move, it should break above it successfully. But if that does not happen, then we need to hold on. Price is having issues here because there's a zone there. That zone is what price is expecting. Is it going to break above it or is going to get reversed? You understand? Is it going to break above it or is going to reverse back? So let's wait and see what is going to happen on this zone. If he's able to break above this point successfully, then we could look at it that okay, price wants to go up and we can follow suit. But if if the reverse is the case, then yes, it means price might want to drop. Okay, so that's that on USD card. Okay, so let's look at the next instrument here, which is USD CHF. USDCHF. All right, USDCHF is also showing us that price is going up based on what we're seeing on 1 hour. Even on daily time frame, you see that price is also pushing to this side, to the upside. Although based on what we're seeing on trend, you see it's more or less like it's dropping. Came down, broke it here. Now coming well, it's still showing that deal. That if you're looking at it based on the trend now, the trend is showing us that bearish trend based on what we are seeing on the daily time frame. Okay, so even on the monthly, that's what it's showing us. But let's look at what it's going to do on the 1 hour time frame. Let's see. So we can see that price has pushed up for a while. And yes, based on what we're seeing, where price is resting now currently, there's a zone around that point. Okay, but to be fair, let's push it up. Let's see. Let's push it to this side. Let's see to make it clear. Okay, I'm with us, please. Let's free up the space. Okay, fine. So it's one of these two. Price could either break above this point or reverse back down. So if price is able to break above that point successfully, we could expect a bullish move. But if the reverse is the case and it gets to that point and you respect that zone, price could go back down. Okay, so this point here is our strong zone, is our area of concentration, our area weak zone. So we're either waiting for it to break above it or get rejected. If it's able to break above that part, then we should expect price to pick up a direction. But if it breaks below this, if it doesn't and respects this zone, we could have a rejection down. Okay, so that's that on USD CHF. Let's look at what is happening on USD JPY. All right, so this is USD JPY, and based on what we've been saying on even the currency strength meter, it's been showing us that JPY is weak. All right, so I just feel okay. So based on the whole thing, uh, they have a new prime minister who is a woman, and I feel maybe their economy, maybe based on politics, the economy does not like the fact that they are having a woman there, and that for one reason or the other could be one of the main reason why that currency has been weak. It's just been pushing down because based on the information we got the day she got sworn in, JPY was also being sold, it began to sell and it was selling massively. So I want to feel the whole weakness of JPY is based on politics. It's based on politics. That's my own opinion. But let's look at it technically. Let's look at what price has been doing. Price has been pushing up based on the way it's been weak. And if we're still going to follow what the currency strength meter is showing us, it's showing us that the dollars is strong, showing us that the dollars is strong. So there's every possibility that since the JPY currency is weak, it's going to tilt towards a particular direction. But unless a reverse happens, that's when everything will change. You understand? So this is it. It's either it breaks above this point or it respects this. So yeah, sorry for that. There was just a network glitch, but we're back online. So yes, price is either price breaks above this point or it respects this zone. So if it respects this zone, it could pull back down. But looking at it based on what we're saying, already it has created a zone for itself here. So it's just between these 2 points. Either price rejects back to this point and breaks below this point and continues the bearish move, or comes to this point and it gains strength to push back to the upside. So it's one of the two. Let's just look at it closely and carefully. You understand? So it's the whole movement is within this point. So it could come to the get back, reverse back to this point and gets rejected and pushes back to the upside, breaks above this zone and continue. It's one of the two that will happen. Nobody knows the exact direction this market is going to move, but yes, once it picks a direction, we will know and we can follow from that point. Okay, so that's that. Thank you very much on that particular instrument, USD JPY. Let's look at AUD USD. Let's look at AUD USD. Okay, just AUD USD. After which we'll look at NZD USD. All right. Okay. AUD USD. AUD USD. All right, so this is AUD USD, and like we all know, we know that price of dollars has also been strong. And as of this morning, AUD is weak. Yes, AUD is weak based on what we are seeing on the currency strength meter. And you can see that price has pushed down, got to this point, and yes, looking at it, got to this point, got rejected, push, did a pullback. Now back to that same point to retest that zone. So it's one of these two. Either it breaks below or it gets rejected. So look at it here. This is our point here. Yes. So it is able to break below this path successfully. If it's able to break below this path successfully, then we could have a bearish move. But if it gets rejected at that point, we could have a bullish move. One of the two will happen. Either it breaks below or it rejects back to the upside. One of the two. So let's cross our fingers and watch what is going to happen on that particular path. Let's just see. Nobody really knows what a price will most likely do. But let's see, let's check and see. Price could break below this part and versus back up. But all the same too, it has also created a zone here, like we can see. So it's either price could also reject back to this high point. And at this point, price could get rejected too, or it breaks above. So let's just look at these 2 points. These 2 points are our strong areas. Yeah, you understand? Either it breaks below this point, then continues moving down, or it gets rejected here, gets to this point, breaks above it, or it gets rejected and goes back down. One of the two. But let's see what is going to happen. Let's cross our fingers and see. All right. So the next instrument we'll look at is NZD-USD. Let's see what is happening on NZD-USD. All right, so we're on NZD USD based on, let's look at the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, price has been dropping on NZD USD. Now look at it, it got to this particular point on the daily time frame, got rejected, pulled back to this high. Okay, see, got back to this point and it got rejected here. But if you were to look at it, in fact, yes, this is it. But yes, let's just make it like this. Fair. Got back to this part, got rejected, and is now pushing back. But the real strength of the rejection is actually here, where price has been rejected all through, has been this particular zone here, this close point here. That's where price has actually been. And we can see that based on candle 02 on the daily time frame, price got to that point and is being rejected. You understand? But let's look at it on the 1 hour time frame and see what are we expecting. So it's in this way. If price is able to break below this part successfully, then we could expect a bearish move. We could expect a bearish move. So it's one of the two. Either price breaks below that part and it gets rejected, or it reverses back to the upside here to gain more strength around this point. You understand? Price could reverse back to this point to gain more strength and pushes down. I'm with yours, please. Okay. So price could get to this point, gets rejected back to this up point. Then from this up point, drops straight back down and breaks below this part. So this is the main deal here. It's where the whole thing is. Either it breaks down to this point or reverses back up. Or in fact, okay, coming. Based on what we are seeing on 1 hour time frame, let's see. Okay. Okay. So this is just it. Price could get rejected back to this particular point based on what we're saying now and gets rejected. It's one of the two. Or price could even respect the trend here and push back to the downside. One of those two. So that's that on NZD USD. Okay. Let's go to commodities now. Let's go to commodities. So my first instrument that I'll be looking at on commodity is oil. Let's go to oils. Let's see what is happening on oils. Let's go to oils. Yes, I'm on oils. I'm on oils. Let's see what is happening on oils. All right, so this is oil. Let's zoom out. So based on what we're seeing on oil, oil has pushed up for a while. Now it has gotten to a particular point. This is on 1 hour. We can see that it's just moving between these 2 points. This is point 1, based on what we're seeing. In fact, let me make it tight, little. Yes, and this is point 2. Okay, so the movement has just been from this point to this point, and we can see, so we can easily see price has been moving sideways between 2 points. When it got to this point, came back down, now back, and it's still going up. So it's in 2 ways. Either it breaks above this point successfully and keeps on going up, or gets to this point, breaks below this point, and begins to come down. So yes, it's just between these 2 points. That's the way it is. One of the two will happen. Either it breaks above or below. Nobody knows which direction is going to pick. So yes, you look at it and see what is going to happen. Breaking above or below. That's that on oil. You understand? Based on what we are seeing on 1 hour. So that's that on oil. Yes, let's look at another commodity instrument. Let's look at another commodity instrument. Let's go to okay, coming with us. So yes, let's go to soya beans. Let's go to soya beans. I'm opening soya beans for us now. Let's see. So yes, for those of us that didn't know, as of yesterday, there was the news between the agreement between China and US was also another main factor that affected the price of soya beans. Yes, we can see that price also went up. So yes, you can also look at it. That was what affected it because the tariff on a price has reduced now and the likes, you understand? So look at it now. Price is going to get up based on what we saw, based on that news was what gave birth to these reactions. So this is it here. At this particular section now, let's look at it on the daily time frame. Price has gotten to this point. Let me even see. You can see this is the weekly time frame. Price has gotten to this point. And this point is a strong zone. Even on the monthly too, we can see that for a long time, price has been dropping. This is the monthly time frame, please. Let's hold on and see what is happening. Okay, so price got to this high, dropped down to this point. This is on monthly time frame. And for a while, he ranged by moving sideways. It's been ranging and now it's giving us that direction that price wants to push up based on what we are saying here. But we don't really know if it's going to break above that point successfully because it's still within that same zone. Okay, so this is what we should look out for. Let me drop the zone for us to see. Either it breaks above this point or it gets rejected around that point. That's just it. Either it breaks above this point. So if it breaks above this point successfully, we could expect price to push up on soya beans. We could expect price to push up. But if it respects this point, yes, price could also do what? Would also push back to the downside. Nobody really knows what it's going to do. But based on where price is close to this particular resistance here. So it's one of the two. Price could break above it. Price could break above it. Yes. So, or it gets rejected at this point and continues to push to the downside. You understand? So that's that on soya beans. We're looking at this point now. We could expect price to break above it or respect that zone. So let's just fold our hands or cross our fingers, expecting one thing to happen to break above or below. But whichever section it peaks, we can then follow. Okay, that's that on soya beans. Let's look at okay, fingers crossed. Let's go to wheat. Let's go to wheat. Let's go to wheat. Okay, I'm on wheat now. Wheat it is. So, so looking at price of wheat, it got to this particular high, and it has expected that point for a while now. We can see it got to that point, it got rejected, came back down. Now, this is the real zone that it has created here. Now it's between this point and this point. Got to this point, pulled back to the upside. Now we can see that price is coming down here based on the structure we're seeing, more or less like price wants to come down. So it's just between these 2 points. Either price breaks below this part successfully and continues the bearish move, or it gets rejected around that point and gets back to this up point. So it's one of the two that will happen here. Either it goes below this point or reverses back up. So that's that on wheat. That's that on wheat. Okay. So we're checking that point. All right. So let's go to let me take one more commodity. Let's take one more commodity. Then we'll move to indices. Let's take one more commodity, then we'll move to indices. Okay, so I'll be looking at fingers rolling. Let's look at corn. Yes, let's look at corn. Let's look at corn. Excuse me, please. All right, so yes, we're back. Thank you for holding. Thank you. Okay, so yes, we are on corn. Now, based on what we're seeing on corn, woo, wow. So based on what we're seeing now, we can see that the price is it's not really giving us something here to really look at now. Okay, from the weekly time frame came down, respected the zone here, and is pushing to the upside. Okay, let's look at it on daily time frame. Daily time frame it has gotten to this. Oh, there was it. Did a fine trend down to this point. Now it broke that point and is reversing back up. Okay, so from Oh, sorry, sorry. Okay. All right, so from this point now, we can see that price of corn has actually pushed up to this side. So, and based on what we are saying, it got to this section and is having issues around this point. So therefore, we can say this point is that rejection zone for price of corn. But let's look at it. It's one of the two that could happen. This is on my daily time frame. Either it breaks above this point or it respects that zone and goes down. Nobody really knows. You understand? But one of the things we should be able to see on price are the zones that are being created. Once we're able to see the zones that are being created and price decides to break above or respects that zone, then we can easily pick a direction for price. Either price goes up or comes down. That's just one of the things that we know. You understand? So based on that, let's just look at it. We're looking at it from this point. Either it breaks above it or it respects that zone. Okay. Uh, that's for that. Oh, so sorry for the network glitch. But I want to believe everything will be better now. Okay. So yes, just like I said, this is the zone point for us. And one of the things we need to understand is if you're able to identify these zones, I feel the remaining placing our entry point will be the next thing. You understand? Being able to identify the zones helps you to see your entry point. And once you're able to identify your entry point, every other thing becomes smooth. You understand? Every other thing becomes smooth. Okay. Yeah. So that's that for corn. All right. So let's go to the index market. Let's see what is happening on indices. Let's see what we see on indices. Let's see. It was I'm still with us, please. Yes. Index market indices. Let's look at US 500, look at US 30, and we can look at US 2000 too. Okay. Then we'll look at UK 100. That's another index that we've not looked at in a while. UK 100. Yes, let's see that too. UK 100. Let's go there. Okay. All right. So we'll start with US 30, then we'll move to US 500, then US 2000, then we'll go to UK 100. All right. So based on what we are seeing as of this morning on US 30, fine. It gave us a good direction as of yesterday. Price went up and came back down. You understand? But as of this morning now, which is today, based on what you're saying, you'll discover that it's more or less like it's moving sideways. It's not giving us any definite direction. So because it's not giving us definite direction, that means price is trying to correct itself. It's just between these 2 points. So let's watch and see what price is going to do. Yes, just between these 2 points. Let's wait and see what price wants to do. Is it going to break above or below? But whichever direction it picks, after the whole ranging, we should know what to do. We can follow it in that light. You understand? But for now, nobody knows what it wants to do since it is ranging. Okay. All right. So let's go to US 500. Let's see what is happening on US 500. Okay, so US 500 is giving us the same vibe, is moving sideways, is moving sideways. In fact, came down yesterday and did a push to the upside, now got to this point and it's been ranging. This was the point it got to, and since then it's been ranging. Okay, so one of the two will either happen, either it breaks above or comes back down. You understand? So that's that. We're looking at it from these 2 points now. So let's watch and see what price is going to go. It's going to break up over to get rejected. Since it is moving sideways, nobody knows what it's going to do. It means there's indecision in the market. They are yet to decide what is happening. That's what's going to happen. And that's why the market is moving sideways. Yes. So a ranging market correction zone. Let's look at US 2000. Let's look at US 2000. Okay, so US 2000 is different from what we're saying. Based on what we're saying on the 1 hour time frame, we discovered that price of US 2000 actually has been giving us that bearish move, and it got to this demand zone. Price is expecting that demand zone as of now, based on what we're seeing. Okay, so if it's expecting that demand zone as of now, let's just hold on and see. This is the other zone we can actually look at for here. So it's between these 2 points. Either it breaks below this point, it could just be that it's expecting and it's having a pullback to the upside on this particular zone. So it could be one of the two. Let's see. Either it breaks below this point, or things is expecting it and it's pushing up, it could come back to this particular section here and breaks above it. So it's one of the two. Either it breaks above that point, or it respects it and goes back down, breaks below, and continues that same in that same line. You understand? So it's one of these two. Let's just wait and see what is going to happen. Okay, so that's that on US 2000. Now let's look at the UK 100. Let's look at UK 100. UK 100. So this is the index of the British economy, you understand? Just like the US 100, US 500, that has to do with the US economy. This is of the Great British economy. So let's see what is happening there. Okay. All right. So based on what we've seen here, nice. If you look at it based on even pattern, it gave us an inverted hammer here, and price respected that point, came down. Yes. And based on what we're saying here, got to this demand zone, did a pullback. But yes, now can we see? So it could be giving us a continuation of that same trend. We can see if you're looking at it from what we've seen on this 1 hour, it's been giving us that bullish trend, a bullish trend pushing up based on what we are saying. Got up to this point, came down, pushed up, came down to this point. Now it's pushing up. Now, well, price could actually continue in that line. But based on what we're seeing, look at it from the zone section. So either it breaks below this part, or it respects it and pushes up to this point and breaks above this point. It's one of the two that will happen. Either it pushes up, respects this point, and breaks above this point and it pushes up. Yes, so it's one of these two that will happen. But let's just look at it slowly. Okay, whichever direction it picks here, then we follow in that suit. Okay, yeah. All right, so let's look at some other currency pairs. Let's look at some other currency pairs. Let's look at GBP JPY. Let's go there. Let's look at GBP JPY and see what is happening on GBP JPY. Let's look at GBP JPY. Okay, so on GBP JPY now. Okay. I'm with us. So on GBP JPY, we discovered that price is also pushing back to the upside. For a while, it came down. And after that, now price is pushing back to the upside. It got to this point. Now, so these are the zones here. This is point one. You could look at it here from this angle and from this other angle. So there are two zones here now. Either it breaks above this point, or it respects it and comes back down. And when it gets to this zone here, price could also respect this point and goes up, or breaks below this point and continues moving down. So one of the two will be the great deal here. You understand? Either it breaks below this point or it reverses back to the upside. Okay, so that's that on GBP JPY. Let's look at another currency pair. Let's look at Euro AUD. Yes, let's look at Euro AUD. Let's go to Euro AUD. Let's see what is happening on Euro AUD. Okay, with us Euro AUD. Okay, so looking at what is happening on Euro AUD, we can see that, okay, price got to this high, it got rejected from that point because based on what we were saying the last time, Price did that, came down to this support zone, pushed to that high, respected that point, came down to this point, and based on what we are saying, we can see that price has been pushing up slowly based on the trend we are seeing here. Okay, let me draw it out so we can see. From this low point here, price got rejected and it's been pushing up. In fact, if I'm to pick it from this bullish angle here, you can see price has been pushing up from that point. Okay, so this was where the whole thing started from. It rejected it from this point and started pushing up from this point. So price has been respecting this particular section, but this zone is here. So it's two ways. Either it breaks above this point successfully. Sorry, excuse me. Either it breaks above this point successfully now, and once it breaks above that point successfully, then we could expect price to pick a direction. Either it's going up or it respects that zone and reverses back down. And if it's reversing back down, let's not forget that there's also a dynamic zone here, which is that trend. You understand? So it's either it breaks below or above that trend. Okay, you're asking me, when can you predict that price breaks upward after successfully analyzing a zone? Now, this is it. If you want to know if a zone has been broken, we're talking about price closing above. Now, let me just use this Euro AUD. There's a zone around this point. Let's see. Go back in time. Yes. Look at when price was coming down, came to this particular section here. In fact, this was where he first did the zone. You see, came down to this point, got rejected here, pushed up a little, but now came back, and this was the candle that broke it and closed below this point. So therefore, we can say price successfully broke below that zone. Price broke below this zone successfully. Now came down to this point, and this point we are also saying now is also another zone, but this zone is a demand zone. This point here is a demand zone, and price has respected the demand zone and has pushed back to this upside. And as you can see now, can you see price got to this point and is struggling within that zone here. This same point that it broke is struggling within that point, and that's why you can see that currently price is there again and is having issues there. So if price is able, this candle that you're seeing, candle zero you're seeing, if it's able to go above this horizontal line that has been marked out and it closes above the box successfully, then we can fully say that price has broken above that zone. But not until that happens, price is yet to break that zone. Okay. All right, so that'll be all for today. Thank you very much for joining today's morning market review. See you same time next week. Bye for now.